All right, so we're live.
We
Welcome,
live.
welcome, welcome once again to another hour of the Black Therapy Show. Carl, Kevin, and Tiffany, you have an
Yes.
epiphany. Kevin is not here today. Kevin is working at a casino, I think, Harrods or something like that.
Yes. I think in
Kevin is
North
working.
Carolina mountains.
Yes, so Kevin is doing his thing. Kevin, we miss you. Kevin's mom, if you're watching, I'm sure you know where Kevin is because that's your son. Kevin's sister.
Hi, Mama.
Hi, Kevin's sister and Kevin. I forgot Kevin's sister's name. I'm so sorry. So if you guys are watching, Kevin can't be on the show because he is working.
But we love him. Shout out to our Kevin. Mwah.
All right.
See you next week.
And I haven't heard much from Patricia, Kevin's better half. Patricia, I hope you are having a wonderful summer, and I haven't heard from you in a while. But I know you guys are busy, so that's okay. And if there was anything that wasn't right, I'm sure Kevin would have mentioned it to us. So I just want to say hi to Patricia. And today's show, we're going to talk about, of course, you've seen the headline I have. Police are there to keep Black people in check. And some people might say police are there to enforce the laws, but that is debatable. As Tiffany and I will show how we feel about policing and where it all started. We're going to show where policing actually all started, and we kick it off from there. So welcome to all of you. And so how did police get started in America? Here we go.
This is David Cooper, a retired Wisconsin police chief with over 30 years of experience. He's been on the front line fighting for change inside police departments for years now.
Well, should we start at slave patrols? Yep. That was slave patrols.
Slave patrols were an organized group of armed white men who would monitor and enforce discipline upon black slaves in the 1800s.
And then that kind of morphed into Jim Crow. And it was quite obvious about whose side the police were on. I mean, there wasn't any question. If you were a person of color and you had a beef about how a white person or a store owner or somebody was treated to you, forget about it. You're going to jail.
My name is Chinjirai Kumanika, and I'm an assistant professor in Rutgers Department of Journalism and Media Studies. What you have to understand is that in early America, right, a lot of the wealth was made. I mean, the wealth was basically made by exploiting labor. And so in the South and places where slavery was, the economic system, that meant you're exploiting slave labor. What you see is, from the beginning, these departments have kind of a racist function. I see a lot of people, kind of talking about this, and they'll say, well, our police are broken, but we have to reestablish trust. The question I would say is, okay, but if the police are broken, what year in American history did the police break? If you're talking about reestablishing trust, can you point to the year in American history where there was a foundation of trust?
Oh no, somebody did another study about water being wet. It's always interesting when these articles and studies come out after Black people have been saying the same thing for decades, if not centuries. But nobody likes to believe when we say it. So when the study comes out, you're like, oh no, I'm devastated. Color me shocked. However, I digress. There's a study that came out in 2022 about the police not primarily being crime fighters and they're just targeting minority groups, mainly Black people. We know this. But let's look at some historical factors, shall we?
So let's take a look at the Black History 365 textbook. It is in hardback as well as digital copy. The Compromise of 1850 required white people to assist the police in catching Black people who escaped from enslavers. This included assisting the police and bounty men, whose main goal was to capture Black people and terrorize Black people and take the lives of Black people. And just so you know, those of you who think that the police were designed to stop crime, they were the perpetrators of said crimes when it came against Black people, because when there were Black delegates in New Orleans who were running for an elected position, they decided to take the lives of not only the voters, but the Black delegates as well.
As someone who has only called the police one time in her entire life to prevent her child from choking, only to have the police call the paramedics because they were not equipped to handle the job. I just want to know, why are people calling the police? What are they there for? Outside of hunting Black people and other minority groups. Black people, when have you called the police? And what was it for? How many times have you had to call the police? And did they actually help you? Because I've never experienced any help from the police. Never. I've been harassed, but never helped.
All right. So we're going to show how Black people are treated by police first.
What you gonna do? Man, y'all might as well leave. Get the fuck out of here. Man, y'all get out of here.
And we're going to show how let's see, there's another one I wanted to show. Here you go.
Hurting him.
You're hurting me.
You get off of it. You're on video.
People here now, please. Please.
You were on video.
Nicole.
I'm so honest. I can't do anything.
Please. Call 911. No, Kira. Please.
You're hurting him.
Nicole.
You're hurting him.
Stop
Can you
it.
take your elbow off his fucking neck?
You've been disrespectful this whole time.
Take your elbow off his neck.
Please get off.
Take your elbow.
Ma'am. I told you not to.
Huh?
Touch me again and I will tase you. Stop.
You'll tase me. What am I doing to you? I have this on video. I'm trying to get your elbow off my boyfriend's neck.
You're choking me.
You're choking me.
Choking me.
Yo.
I swear to God.
Get your elbow off his neck. Get your elbow off his help. He's on his neck. Please help. This officer won't get off his neck. He's taking it too far.
Okay. And let's show like
difference.
Tiffany, before we start the show, I'm going to ask you the same question. You don't have to answer, but I'm going to say this again. I've said it a million times. What else do Black people need to see? What else are we waiting for?
This is fair use purposes, fair use, educational purposes. We do not own the rights to any of this content. We're just voicing our own opinion, nobody else's.
All right, here we go.
With the knowledge you gain, break away from the chains. We helping you grow the Black Therapy Show. You be in a safe space, dealing with the Black trauma. We unpacking and inspecting all our baggage and drama. Cause we gotta unite, no more killing each other. It's time to see a new future for my sisters and brothers. You know it, Kevin, Carl, and Tiffany. You'll have an epiphany. We'll give you everything you need to handle the enemy. We be giving you empathy, we gon' challenge you mentally. The right conversation so you grow exponentially. We built your penitentiaries, we built all your schools. Gave us brainwash education, just making us fools. Hatred was what we got in exchange for love. No more manipulation from my God above. No, it's Carl, Kevin, and Tiffany. Now welcome to the Black Therapy Show. Let's go.
Let's go.
What's up, everybody? Thank you for checking in. Donna Haygood, thank you for checking in. One Information Man Show, thank you so much for checking in, brother. We love you, we love you, we love you. Please, if you love our show, you would love the Information Man Show. His show is right on point with all the important topics like we deal with here every Sunday. So check out the Information Man Show. If you love our show, you absolutely gonna love his show. Donna, thank you for checking in, and thank you for all the other people who are checking us out live. Today we're going to talk about police. Not many people know how the police department started. Not people think they're here to uphold the laws. People think that's why it was formed. But if you do your research, you will know the real reason for the police department. Any PD in your neighborhood, in your city, is there for one reason and one reason only, and that is to keep Black people in check. To make sure is that to make sure we don't end up in the white neighborhoods and destroy their precious little picket white fences. That's why the police are there. Uh, okay, I'm laughing because I'm reading some comments.
Read them out. What the comments saying?
Is from from our favorite.
Oh no.
Yeah, I'm not even going to entertain that because he's kind of advocating violence against me, and I'm not into that. I'm not. I'm just not into that.
Well, we good. God bless everybody that's here and
I wants to physically fight me. But that's okay.
Right.
So today, Tiffany, the police department, as I said, and the videos I showed, you show how Black criminals are treated. You showed how white criminals are treated, and that's not just. I didn't pull those videos just to sensationalize the topic. There's hundreds and thousands of those kind of videos out there. I see very, very few videos. There's one video in particular I wish I could have found, and it was where there was this white dude was fighting with two police. He grabbed the police baton, started beating the police with the baton, punching the police, jumped in the police's car, stole the car. Police never shot once. They just tried to get him under control. But we all know that would not happen.
Yeah, I was wondering why you didn't put those videos up because it's mad white people showing out in front of the cops, and you be looking at them like, "What is wrong with you?" We don't act up like that because we know our place. I'm not arguing with no cops.
They cuss the cops out. They tell the cops "F you," you know, and they live through it.
They live through it. We get our ass whooped.
They are
even some killed.
You know. I have been in a car with white friends, and the police come up to the car, and they literally said, "What the fuck is your problem?"
Like you did something. You looking at them.
Now I get nervous because I know if the police get mad, he's gonna shoot me. He's not.
You the target. You're the target.
If the police get mad, he's not gonna pull out his gun and put it to that white kid's head. He's gonna, he's
gonna point it to you and say, "White people, are you okay? So he got your hostage."
So I mean, the kid was probably speeding. We were going to do a show. We were doing a comedy show somewhere out in the sticks, somewhere. I think it was Keene, New Hampshire, somewhere far from Boston. It's like a 4-hour drive. But the police is talking to him, but looking at me. Right? He's talking to him, but his eyes are focused on me, and I'm just sitting there,
like standing still. Like
yes,
I'm not moving a muscle.
Because that tells me everything. I'm the suspect. I'm the one. Even though he pulled, and the kid said "fuck you" to the police, I'm still the problem.
That'd be the craziest when they curse them out. You be looking at them like, "Oh my God, this skin protection really works."
Yeah,
because we can't cuss out no cop, and they not trying to tase us, punches in our face, or rough us up and stuff like that.
They want us to cuss them out.
No, I'm not. I try to avoid them as much as possible. And I tell my nephews and anybody that I love, please leave them cops alone. Don't do no crimes. Don't put your ass in nothing you don't supposed to be in, that you have to deal with them, because the system is not for us. And it wasn't built for us. It wasn't built to protect us. It, like you said, it was built to protect the white man. It was built to protect his goods. It was to protect his goods, which is us, which was our ancestors. So they don't mean us no good like that.
No. And like I said, it came from slave patrols. They were there to, I'll let this guy.
Police used to be called slave patrol. Let's talk about it. During slavery, white people had to keep track of their most valuable asset, which was enslaved Africans. So they created slave patrol. Their task was to capture, control, and brutalize enslaved people. All white people were required to enforce slave codes. They had to tell the patrol if they caught a black person breaking the law. These laws consisted of reading or writing, gathering without a white person, leaving the plantation, or even defending themselves while being attacked by a white person. After the Civil War, the slave patrol turned into what we know today as an institutionalized police department. The 13th Amendment in the Constitution stated that slavery was abolished except for punishment to a crime. So what did they do? They criminalized black people. During the Civil Rights era, police were oppressive and violent. Any reason to arrest a black person, they were going to do it. They could make up something. A white woman said a black man touched her. No evidence, you're getting arrested. No questions asked. Not to mention, half of the police force was a part of the KKK, so if that tells you anything. A lot of y'all try to make it seem like this was a long time ago, and it was not. The perspective that police have on black people doesn't just change over time. It's woven into the DNA and root of policing. Not to say that all police officers are racist, but the institution itself was solely built on racism, just like America. So what do you expect? Statistics show that police are 2 times more likely to use force on black people. Why do you think black people feel so uncomfortable around police? Police brutality happens over and over and over, time and time and time and time again. And nothing's being done, nothing's changing. Police are supposed to protect and serve, but has that ever been the case for black Americans?
Tiffany, do you think more black people joining the police department would help?
No. Because there's enough in there right now. And to me, this is my opinion. I think a lot of them, they probably do go in there wanting to change, but then they see you can't change a system that's been like this for hundreds of years. You can't go in there and change something that was not built for black people. It was built to control black people. Oh, come on, please. So, what another thing. First of all, I'm very proud of these young people that know the history. The ones that you've been putting up is good because a lot of people don't know their history. So for these young people and that young lady to know this history, now you understand why they're trying to get rid of TikTok. Because the history is there. They looking it up because they documented everything. It's not like we making this stuff up. All this stuff was documented. So Boston really was the first one to start policing. They started in 1635. That's where they started. Boston was the first one to start everything. Okay. They started, the first policing system was called the Night Watch. So they had the night watches, the militias and stuff. And then later on, like the 1700s, went into the slave patrol. And that's when they was just brutalizing blacks. Like you couldn't do anything. They was in that ass. Like it was, all the rules was to hurt your ass, hurt black people. So it was horrible, especially the slave patrol. And they said in 1838, Boston did their first local police department. So this is what's going on in Boston. I didn't know Boston. I got to do some history about Boston. And in 1854, New York City had their first uniforms. So you're seeing these are like the time, like it's changing, it's getting different. You understand? Because they was just regular, like you said, slave patrols, regular people, And then once you get into wearing uniforms, you have mostly what? The white people that are Ku Klux Klan, the political. Remember, you got all these political officials. Everybody's all connected, and this is all documented. And I think in 1878 they said, and I think this is after slavery was abolished. They hired their first black officer in 1878. I have to do more history on that. And then the first female was in 1910. Was the first female. So you learning a lot, dealing with the police system. But as you see, it was never for us. It was against us to control us.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, I think, as we said, they were used as there were slave patrols, and then as time went by, as
It's
civil rights and all that
evolving.
stuff, right? They started to change. Maybe we should, not try to make it seem like we are not here to just go after black people. So let's
Hmm.
start, just start diversifying our abuse, I guess you could say.
Yes. And they went into something called the Black Code, where everything was definitely against, but now they're in uniform. The Black Code is to make sure you keep black people down. So that's a whole thing too. Like, I learned so much just doing the research about it and these little codes. And we need to be on point with all of this.
Yes. G Car, what's up? I think G Carter, I think is what's
Hey,
up.
Miss Jean Carter.
She says, I know too well about the white neighborhood. I guess, I was talking about how they try to keep us out of the white neighborhoods. The police will call on my brother for walking in Great Neck. I think Great Neck, New York. Just going to visit our mother where she used to work. So funny how it never happened to my sisters and I. Well, they go after black men more because apparently we are more violent.
Yeah, they feel intimidated by black men.
Yes. Shout out to Nicole Coates. Thank you for checking in.
Hey, Nikki.
Donna, she's always here every Sunday. Donna, I love you so much she never misses a Sunday.
Thank you, Donna. Hey, Donna.
Karen Francis says Howard Beach, New York. They chased the black guy, right? In
Howard Beach. Howard Beach, all of those different areas we knew to stay out of.
Really? Do you
think because Yusef Hawkins got killed over there. You also have what's his name? Michael Griffin. He was killed, in these white neighborhoods, and now you got this new young man that was killed in Midwood by a young white man.
Yeah. Sharon Gooden, thank you for checking in. Norman Staley, thank you, Norma, grandma.
Yes.
That's Tanya's grandma. And to this day in 2023, there's still actually neighborhoods where black people know not to go.
No, not to go. But what I don't understand is how the news and how they put it in the media. They try to cover it up. They be like, it was a young man that did the killing in this neighborhood. They won't tell you the neighborhood. They won't say it in public. The neighborhood was Midwood. They won't say it was a white young man and a teenager at that actually killed somebody because he was dancing or he was having fun or he didn't like what he was doing. And this is living in another neighborhood. So it's sad.
Yeah. We can go right into that, Tiffany. I mean, there's a 17-year-old white kid stabbed a black gay.
I think he was a dancer. His name was O'Shea.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I got some stuff on him. How do you get so hateful at 17?
Are you serious, Carl? First, again, let's talk about our white brothers and sisters and how they raise their children.
Yes.
Okay. They don't raise we was talking earlier. A lot of people they don't know what's really going on in our black household or what we have to deal with walking in our black shoes. So do you think that they're telling their children that? You understand? Or what they should do and what they should not do. But we tell our children and our sons what not to do and what to do to avoid them from getting hurt from white people or the cops. These young men, yes, they were gay. Who cares? Was doing they gas. They was putting gas in their gas tank and they was spinning around and dancing. They was happy. They was doing their thing. They was voguing off of Beyonce, and this young man had a problem with it. Him and his friends had a problem with it, and they got into an argument, and he stabbed him. My thing is, why you can't mind your business?
Yeah.
Why? Was it because it was in your area? Y'all wasn't used to some young black men coming in there getting gas? I don't
Tiffany, get it. I'm sure you know the fact is people don't like us just because we exist. That's it.
Well, they messed up. It's a hate crime now.
Yeah.
Beyonce is paying tribute today to a 28-year-old dancer who was stabbed to death in New York City in what police are investigating as a hate crime. Witnesses say that O'Shea Sibley was dancing to Beyonce's Renaissance with friends at a Brooklyn gas station when a person approached the group and began making homophobic comments. Beyonce marked his tragic death on her website today, writing, "Rest in power, O'Shea Sibley." Her Renaissance album pays tribute to Black and queer pioneers of disco and house music. Police say they have identified a 17-year-old teenager, but no arrests have yet been reported.
The NYPD is still searching for the person who fatally stabbed O'Shea Sibley, a professional dancer and choreographer.
They murdered him because he was gay.
It happened Saturday night at this Brooklyn gas station. Sibley is seen on this surveillance video while he and his friends stopped to get gas. Moments later, witnesses say he got into a heated argument with a man who made homophobic slurs. Sibley was stabbed in the chest and later died.
O'Shea was a beacon of light that just influenced everybody.
I'm horrified.
Toni Morrison works with GLAAD, a nonprofit LGBTQ advocacy organization. Are these isolated incidents?
O'Shea Sibley joins a horrific list of 5 other LGBTQ plus people who have been murdered in recent weeks.
Hate crimes reported to the FBI across the country rose by 11% between 2020 and 2021, but crimes against gay males increased 41%. Sibley's friend Kamar.
This young man was experiencing that hate crime, and we will find the person responsible.
That statement about the killing of dancer O'Shea Sibley from Mayor Eric Adams on Monday had 2 key points: that this was a hate crime and that the person accused of the killing will be brought to justice. At this point, the suspect is still not officially in police custody. Detectives have said it's a 17-year-old male seen in surveillance video in a confrontation with Sibley and minutes later stabbing him fatally outside of this gas station and convenience store on Avenue P and Coney Island Avenue in Midwood, Brooklyn. Sibley was 28 years old and is being remembered by many as a rising star in the dance world of New York, where he was featured with the Alvin Ailey Dance Company and in works at Lincoln Center.
His movement is going to make him a star on a world tour at Madison Square Garden, not get him something marginal. And then all that hope gets taken away.
Yeah, so they said the kid was yelling racist and homophobic stuff, at not
why do but you heard how they was like a young man, they're not saying who he is and they saying hate crime, and my mother's like, when hate crime is they doing something against their color or their nationality or something like that, or now their sex, for him being him being gay, whatever the case may be. I don't care what he was. Okay, if somebody is dancing and having fun, why are you mad? Why you gotta bother them? Why you gotta say stuff? Your parents didn't tell you to mind your business. Don't say nothing to somebody. If you don't like something, say nothing at all. Like, did he own the gas station? That's my thing. Like, it's just horrible. Rest in peace to him. And I know his friends and his family is going through it, but it's just really sad.
Yeah. I'm reading this comment. Up and running on YouTube. Just left a comment. Hey, how you doing? I don't quite understand. Maybe I'm missing something. But why are you calling yourself Black when you're not? Do you have yellow man? Do you have blue man? It's the melanated man under attack in this country on the whole.
Oh, okay. Well, if you want to say melanin, I understand. It's just that we're calling Black because that's what they call us. So people relate more. Like, certain people relate more to nigga, and I don't understand why. When we are human beings, we are Black women and men. People. I see you say people of color. You don't. That's like a variety of people because we have this whole world is full of color.
Yeah. When we say Black covers everybody that's not white. I don't care who you are, listen.
Black is just directly for us.
Right. But I mean, like, Black, when like people from the Dominican Republic, or even like people from Asia, the South
Yeah,
Asia,
they black.
India, they're black. And I know they try to side with white people when they come to America, but I always say if black people weren't here, you guys would be the new niggas. So don't think for 1 second that you are somehow higher than us, because you're not. So when I say black, I'm gonna keep saying black. I hate it when I hear people say black and brown and black and this. No, I say black because there's in this world is black and white. And I know a lot of people don't want to be associated with black. But that's too bad because that's how they look at you.
That's how the world is. Yes.
Yes.
This system, literally, this system is about black and white. And we wish it was a multicultural system, which they would have to shut this whole system down and redo everything over again to make it a multicultural. But right now, like you said, it's a black and white world, and it's sad because, like you said, it's a whole bunch of us. We come in colors and forms.
Information Man says never use people of color. It's an insult.
Yeah, people of color. That's more of the Indians, it's all colors. But when you say black, we know that we're talking about Black Americans, or like you said, black people that's from the West Indies. You're black. Right. You come here, you're black. If you are African and you come here, you're not African, you're black. That's what they see. I know certain people don't like it, but that's just reality. And I think that's what's wrong with us as people. We don't want to face reality and deal with it straight on. So once we deal with it, we can move on.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to join the panel, I put the link in the comments. Anybody can join except for one person who's threatening me. But I mean, I'll let anybody in except for that person.
Oh, if you want to come in and voice, very respectful.
Yes.
I don't want us to have to bang on you. Yeah, we like respect, but it's just a lot going on, and the hate against one another is sad. But like you said, this is not a multicultural world, but we are in it. But it's run black. The system is black and white.
Oh yeah, I get people want their individual identity. I get that
okay.
The Republic want to be identified as whatever, what I mean? People from, some Haiti and Africans, even people from the Caribbean want to be identified, want their own individual identity. And I know sometimes that gets confused when people from the Caribbean say, I'm not black. And then the Black Americans say, what do you mean you're not black? But I can tell you what we mean when we say, we mean we're not Black American. We're black, but we're black from Caribbean, or I'm black from Canada. I'm black. I'm from whatever. So, but but I know when we say that, I know that we get stomped all over because.
Listen, when I heard an African, the many our African brothers and sisters, we African. But when that police officer killed that African man, you should have saw me screaming at the get back in the car. Don't talk to him. Like, he got out the car and was like, what do you want? And you looking at him like, get in the car, he's gonna kill you. Then he took off running, and you like, no, don't run, they're gonna shoot you. Then he killed him. You like, damn.
Yeah. I mean, people from the Caribbean and Tiffany, we have no idea what it's like to be black in America until you come here, not on vacation, until you come here and start living here. You think that America lets the world know how to treat black people? You think we see it on TV or we see it no, we don't. If it wasn't for now there's world news, you can see there's CNN and MSNBC and Fox
and TikTok
and all these different world news. So now the people in the Caribbean, they get it. Because my dad, he worked on a ship that came to America several times, and he used to come back to Barbados and tell us how horrible the white people were to black people. And we used to laugh and we used to talk behind his back like, oh, that's crazy. He used to tell us how white people don't talk to you. They don't look, they ignore you. If you go into a store, they don't deal with you. And we used to laugh about it.
And
because,
now you had to get older and
yes,
experience
and
yourself.
yes, you know what I mean? Because we couldn't believe it. Like, Dad, why would somebody just not like you because you're black?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make sense to us.
Yeah.
So America doesn't. We don't know this stuff, and I know a lot of Black Americans get frustrated with us when we come here and we don't have the passion, or you know what I mean. We're very
The compassion for us. It's not
right,
the passion because y'all passionate. Y'all come here, y'all work, y'all do what y'all got to do. I respect that.
right,
We talking about compassion for
right,
us as
yes,
Black Americans and what we go through.
right. Because I'd be honest, when I first came to this country, I'm like, what are these Black people doing to these nice white people?
Because you know, Bajans was conditioned.
Yes,
You know, the West
oh
Indies was
yes.
conditioned.
We were Barbados was where the slaves were taught. Well, the bad slaves were sent to Barbados for the Bajan slaves to teach them how to be nice to your master.
And I heard that on my slave plantation tour. Yeah, y'all had a different type of slavery. Yeah, it was y'all had y'all brutal time, but it wasn't as brutal as America. Y'all know y'all place. Just like in the South, you have a lot of the Black people that's there that know their place. You understand? Because they don't know nothing else. You understand? They so conditioned. This is why they're trying to keep the system just the way it is, where they don't tell you the history of Black people. They don't tell you what really went on almost 100 years ago, 200 years ago, you know. But like I said, I appreciate this TikTok and social media because you see that it opens up doors, especially for learning and history.
Yeah. Karen Francis, what's up, Karen? Karen's another fellow Bajan. Karen says, I always say I'm not African American, just Black works. Be the best American, etc. That you are. Be the best American, etc. That you are. Yeah, I always tell people that I'm not Black American, I'm not African American, and I'm not saying
no, you're not. You're a Black Bajan.
Right. But you know, it gets conflated, and people think that you don't want to be Black. Yeah, Karen said the ones, meaning the slaves they couldn't control in Barbados, were sent to Jamaica. This is why Jamaicans are so aggressive, and Jamaicans are known for their aggression.
Yeah, I heard they come from the Maroon people too.
Yes.
They didn't play no games,
Yes.
and the Haitians too. They fought back.
And while the Bajan slaves are always, don't fight. You know what I mean? Let's listen to the white man. He knows best. You know what I mean? And
Y'all was good with y'all with y'all oppressor. Y'all didn't have a problem. Y'all knew y'all place.
Yeah. And Jamaica was like, nah, man, fuck that. You know.
Yeah, they fought, and a lot of them went to the mountains. And you know them whites wasn't going to the mountains. That's why we got our Rastafarians and stuff. They went to the mountains. You know they wasn't traveling to the mountains.
And a lot of the slave revolutions in the Caribbean started in Jamaica and Haiti.
Yeah, they said they was no joke. Right. They fought.
Then the rest of the Caribbean islands were here. Hey, the slaves in Jamaica revolting. They're fighting. So then they started fighting. Then but Barbados they were the most docile. You know, you can pat us on the head. You can rub our belly. Rub our head. Give us a little snack, and and we were cool.
And they probably showed y'all one thing that scared the whole hell out of y'all. That y'all could take. Y'all was like, we don't want to fight y'all. And then remember, y'all country is small. It's not like America. We got this so big, so they knew how to control y'all. They knew how to handle y'all, and that's horrible. That our people had to be conditioned to this.
Yeah. Karen Francis said the house slaves were the Bajan slaves, which is true.
But still,
yeah.
No, they 100% right. But I'm going to tell you this from learning the history and going to these plantations. Yeah, it was a little bit easy for the house slaves. It wasn't that easy. You understand? Because they had to deal with more stuff. Remember, a lot of the house slaves was master's child. Okay. So they was hurting, abusing them, and they had to live in horrible conditions.
Yeah. Up and running from YouTube ask a question: which is more harder, difficult, we unite or getting the European American to respect us?
They said, what's harder?
Yeah, is it hard for us to unite as black people, or for us to try to get respect from white people, basically?
It's actually, I think it's both, but I think we should unite. I think we should be tired of asking, our white brothers and sisters for help and assistance, or we want them to understand our plight. I think we done with that now. You don't think so, Carl? Like, it's been 400 or 500 years. Why should we worry about them now? It's time for us to unite ourselves, especially families need to unite more.
Yeah. Yeah, Karen said we're past respect. Now we're never gonna get respect. We're always gonna be. You know what annoys me most about living in America? I don't even worry about the N-word and all that kind of stuff. The the suspicion you're under, no matter what you do, you're under suspicion. You know what I mean? Like they always look at you. That annoys me more than anything else. And I know that's something that's never gonna go away.
No, it's never gonna stop.
You're in the wrong neighborhood, you walk into a store, you know what I mean? You're in your own house, it's you're always on the suspicion. I think I got an Amazon driver out there trying to deliver something. You want to take this, Tiffany? No.
Go take it.
Hopefully he left it. He was trying to call me. I don't know.
Well, I thought that he would probably leave it unless he's still calling. If he's still calling, it must be a bomb. Don't open that door because he's supposed to left it at the door. You're not in the area where people gonna snatch it off your door, are they?
No.
Okay, so you good.
Yeah, but it's like you're always under suspicion. The suspicion is what drives me nuts in America. And I know it shouldn't. I should be used to it. But you're always under suspicion, no matter what you're doing. You could be doing the simplest thing. You're returning something that you bought at a store and you return it. And there's just look of suspicion, like you did something to it or something is, what I mean? Like
it's in their handbook called to always look at us as suspicious. Literally. It is to watch us at all times. Literally. Like from 1700 to 2023 now, you see the difference in, like you were showing. Look at that young man that went in there and killed those people. They didn't whoop his ass. They didn't beat him down, but if it was a black person, they would have whooped him down. By the time we saw him, he would have had a black eye, big lip, and they said, oh, he was resisting arrest. So yes, we see the difference in how they handle us, how they deal with us. That's why I tell my people, please do not get yourself in no trouble. Don't get in the middle of nothing. Don't be around the wrong people because they will whoop your ass in jail because that is a part of the game.
Karen Francis said, my husband walked into a gun store with his shotgun and the white men all froze. He was smart to carry it behind him and not in his hand. He had to check them immediately. We have weapons too. I would not have done that, Karen. I would not have done that.
No, we know you're not going to do that. But if he is licensed to carry and he is holding it properly, yes, he can do anything that he want to do as long as he's not hurting nobody. But they was in a state of shock because they was like, why that nigga walking around with a gun? We thought we took their rights away.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, Karen's husband is a vet. So he has every right to carry them, but they don't see us as
you already heard the stories about men coming home from war and still be calling a nigga, still calling a nigger, or still having to go in the back of the bus, or still can't eat in certain restaurants, can't go, but you fought for this country. It's no respect.
The answer upon running, the question, is it more difficult for us to unite? I mean, we've been trying to unite. Yes, some of us do unite. Forget the respect. We're never going to get respect from white people or European Americans. We're never going to be respected. We're always going to be looked at, as Dr. Claude Anderson said, all black people ever produced for America is sweat. Singers, dancers, running, basketball, football, baseball. very, very, very few of us are in the business, you know what I mean? Like creating businesses. Very few of us. What's up, information man?
Hey, what's going on? How you doing,
Hey,
sister?
hey,
Hey,
blessings.
good to see you.
Good to see you
Good to
too.
see you. Yeah, good discussion you all are having.
Oh, thanks, man.
So, what you think?
So, do we need respect from white people, or should we just try to unite? That
I think, I really think that black people, let's see, we've been trying to do this for 400 years, 500 years before any of us were born on this panel. I think black people have rolled over backwards, kneeled. We have prayed on it. We've tried to play the what we would call respectability politics. We were told if we just pull up our bootstraps and carry ourselves with dignity and do all the right things and play by the rules, that we'll be treated equally. And I think that has not been found to be true. So I think that black people need to focus on ourselves and stop trying to get white people to accept us and worry about ourselves. Because let's keep it real. When black people were forced into segregation, you can make an argument that we were more productive as a people when we were segregated to each other, because look at where's all our black businesses. Hell, we even had our own black baseball league, and that went to pits once black players started to migrate into what they thought was better, which was the MLB, right? We had black banks, you had everything. I'm not saying that things were easy for black people, but it seems like there was more entrepreneurial spirit, because you had no choice, because you weren't going to be accepted. But black people today, we spend too much time trying to be accepted by non-black people.
Yeah.
And let me ask you this question too. On top of that, while we're trying to be accepted by non-black people, how many non-black people are trying to get us to accept them? They're not worrying about us.
Okay, that's right.
Let me ask you a question, and I've asked this question before. No, I very rarely get a good answer. I'm hoping you can help me with this. I look at all the entertainers, the black entertainers, the basketball players, the football players, all these black people with millions and millions. I'm sure it's in the billions. How come to this day we can't have corporations? How come we don't have a black corporation? Like, I would like to see several high-rise buildings in all cities all across America owned by black people, where hundreds and thousands of black people are going in and out working, you know what I mean? Like being productive. Like, there's no black person that can make a car, that can make a phone, not a smartphone, any kind of technology. Why can't we create corporations and employ ourselves? What do basketball players talk about when they're in the locker room with all those millions and billions of dollars? Don't they say to themselves, listen, we're all black, we got all these millions of dollars, let's help our people? I'm not saying give black people money, but create something that can make, you know what I mean, that can give black people a decent living wage. Why can't we do that? Information man?
I muted myself because I was listening. Let me say this. This is the illusion and sometimes a delusion that we as black people need to get out of. We assume because we have entertainers, athletes, that somehow is going to rise black people to the top. It has never risen us to the top. If you look at the individuals that rose our communities to the top, they were businessmen. So when you look at, for example, you said cars. Well, a lot of people don't know that there were two black men who were involved in some of the first beginning of car production. But you wouldn't know that because we've all been conditioned that it was Henry Ford. Okay? Remember, black people had more going for them when we were segregated, and now we had no choice. Our backs were against the wall to create our own businesses. What's happening is that when you look at athletes and entertainers, you got to look at who really influences them, who really controls their dollar, where they go, what they do, right? When you look at someone like, let's just go back in the 60s, in the 50s, your black entertainers and athletes lived in the same neighborhood with you. You could see Muhammad Ali walking down the street. He was personable, but I guarantee you I couldn't get to LeBron James. I would have to get through the layers and layers of this handler and that handler and da-da-da-da-da. So you have to look at where is our mentality. Our mentality is that when we get money, we want to assimilate into white society because when these athletes get into the NBA or the NFL, they have white people, they get white lawyers. Then the owner of the team, like a Jerry Jones, will tell them, hey, if you want to buy a car, I know where you can get, I can get you a good deal on a car because he knows the white guy in Texas who owns the car dealership. They're all connected. So now you got these black athletes buying stuff from their people. And so on. So you have to have, it has to be something taught and a mentality. But this is the problem, my dear brother. If you look at every other community, I always hate to make these comparisons, but it's just the facts. Yeah. When you look at white society, Asian society, any other ethnic groups, do you see them being led by athletes and entertainers? No. They are led by politicians. They're led by activists. They're not being led by entertainers because an entertainer can only go so far. Let's say a Kevin Hart really wants to get down and dirty with some grassroots. Well, he could be compromised by somebody saying, if you continue doing that, we see that as you being anti-white and anti-this. You might be alienating your fan base, which is highly white. So we don't think we can give you. We don't think that we can give Kevin Hart this big contract because he seems to become Black Panther man now. Think about it. When you are a black person, a black woman or man, and you are an entertainer, and you begin to be for your people, you get labeled as pro-black. Therefore, you're anti everything else, and therefore they look at you with a pinky eye. So I think that's one of the problems. And then you got to look at this too. A lot of our athletes and entertainers come from a lot of poverty, a lot of poor background. Yes, and when black people get money, what's the first thing that we make a mistake and do? We run off and buy a Cadillac, buy a car. Right?
They're controllable.
Right. So now you already in debt. And then another thing is with our entertainers and athletes, they're taking care of the whole family. Their money is going all over the goddamn place, right? And so you say, do we own skyscrapers? Well, we have Robert Smith. Robert Smith, he's a billionaire. We have black people who own certain properties. But when you look at those skyscrapers, brothers, you know that those skyscrapers in New York are owned by shell companies. Okay. You got to go deep and deep into. Right. You go so deep, so many deep levels, you still don't know who owns the damn business. So black people would have to be in those circles to get to that level. And those circles would be what, brother? They have to deal with white folks because they are the gatekeepers of that level, not of having money, but that level of wealth. So there's a difference between being rich and being wealthy. We would have to deal with that gatekeeper, which still would do what? Dilute the perspective of a black agenda.
So we're doomed.
Well, what I'm saying is this is why I don't want to say that we're doomed, but we cannot. You all talked about slave patrols and what have you. We cannot forget that black people. If this was a Monopoly game, imagine if we were playing Monopoly. And I owned all the homes, all the houses. I own everything, including the jail. Before we even got started, I already own everything. And I'm going to say to you, and then the sister here, let's play Monopoly. Well, every time you jump on every damn board, you're going to end up paying me. That's what happened to black people historically. We don't have generational wealth, and white people have owned the Monopoly board. And every time we step on a board, whether it be a piece of property, we end up having to owe them every damn thing. We got to go to them for a bank loan. If they own the bank loan, if they own the bank, which by the way, black people are turned down by, I think it's a 52% when they're trying to get a bank loan for existing businesses, and racism. White people are turned down for existing businesses bank loans at 25%. So you see the Monopoly board, brother?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So What's it? What do we do? I mean,
What we do is what Booker T. Washington. See, this is the thing. When you go back to the Renaissance days, the Harlem Renaissance, W.E. Du Bois was talking about the talented 10 and the idea that if you just go to school and get education, that will change black people's life. That's not true, because we still got black people with degrees that are still living one check by one check, right? Now, Booker T. Washington, who, by the way, when W.E. Du Bois died on his deathbed in the hospital, he apologized to Booker T. Washington because they both had a clash. Booker T. Washington was right. He was focused on economics, owning your own business, owning your own land. Black people should have followed the Booker T. Washington philosophy. Focus on owning something and owning a business. So if black people go back to that ideology, collective work and responsibility, we talk about that in, Kwanzaa every damn year, but we don't follow it. Collective work and responsibility, working together, keeping economics in our family, we would be better off. Because ask yourself this. If black people in the 1920s in Tulsa, Oklahoma were able to build Black Wall Street, and we know what happened, during the most heightened level of racism in this country, even more intense than what we're living in, how were they able to do it? And we can't do it today with all our computers and all our CHAD and our AI. No excuses.
Yeah, we have enough outlets to be able to do it. It's just that we like to have the money on our ears, okay? We want to pay $5,000, $10,000 a month for a daggone house when you can buy you a forever home. You understand? It's like our minds is so it needs to be reprogrammed.
Have we become too comfortable?
Yes. I think the idea of inclusion has eluded us in terms of our own personal growth. So I think in general, black people, when they move to the suburbs or move in a nice home, 2-car garage, we become a delusion by the American dream that, okay, I've made it because I've got this house, I got the 2-car garage, I got the good job, and my family's taken care of. But when we get caught up in that delusion, at the end of the day, we still don't own anything. And I'm not hating on people that have worked hard, got their success. You have every right to benefit from your success and take care of your family. But we are way too comfortable. And our biggest problem is that we're too busy chasing white people's approval and not our own approval. And that's one of our biggest downfalls.
So the strategy, we have someone just joined us up and running. I don't know. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. Yeah. You wanted to say?
Yeah, you see that last word that gentleman used?
Uh-huh.
That's the perfect word there, approval.
Approval, yeah.
You see, you live in this world where nature has provided everything, most things for the man and human to live and sustain. So if you don't want to go for an ask a European for the air you breathe, it's free, you don't pay for it. You have to start look at those small little things and grow from there. And you don't need approval. You don't need somebody to say you are white, you are black. You can create your own.
That's right.
And do whatever you want, because you put on the earth, and if rain fall, it doesn't fall on one man, it will stop. It falls on everybody, it will stop. If a storm come through, it didn't pick certain people house to damage. So that's nature. You go with nature, you can't go wrong.
But we need unity. Don't we need unity though? Upon running, we need unity. Right?
Everybody's not gonna unity in 100%, but if you anything over a certain threshold, you can fix yourself as a group.
Right, Carl. I would say that we use that word very loosely. I only want see. This is the thing. We need to understand the word discrimination. What do I mean by that? I only want to unify with people of like mind who have the same ideology that I do. I do not want to unify. This is our problem as black people. We think that we need to unify with everybody. No, you don't. You need to unify only with those who have the same like-mindedness. So if I'm about business and want to open up a business and be involved in business, I need to seek out black people that are about business. Those that are not about business and not serious will drag me down. Every group does it. Every group. It's not just about black people. Every group associates with those that can get them to where they want to be. I want to make this. I want to clarify some things about what I said about the automobile. This is why we have no excuses. Do you know in 1915, Frederick Douglass Patterson was the first African American to build a motorized car? His father, Charles Rich Patterson, a former enslaved person, and we running around here been free for some time, or free physically, but some of us are slaves in our mind. A former enslaved person created the C.R. Patterson and Sons Company, located in Greenfield, Ohio, beginning in the 1865. The company built fashionable carriages and were one of the first to build a car in 1915. And how many people learned that in school? All we've been taught is about the Model T and the Henry Ford. So if a black man, two black men with a legacy could create that in the 1950s in the height of segregation and black codes and everything y'all talked about, what the hell is wrong with black folks in the 21st century, other than maybe we're just lazy as hell, shiftless as hell right now because we've gotten too damn comfortable?
That's what Carl just said. We just got too comfortable, but we still getting our ass whipped through the system. We working to pay bills. Everything is going up around us. Our pay is not going up. We got to work extra harder just to pay our bills. So it's like as soon as we try to get it somewhere, it shuts us right back down. So
do you think one of the, Martin Luther King, they marched so they can sit at the counter, so they can eat at the nice restaurants? You think the message should have been own your own counter, own your own restaurant, as opposed to try to get into the already white establishment?
Yes, they should have been focused on that. I think near Dr. King's end of his life, he started to become more like Malcolm X. Many people don't talk about this. He got frustrated and he started to get a little bit more radical in things that he was saying because he realized that he put his people, our people, in a burning house. I think he realized that there was a lot of mistakes in the civil rights movement, but I have to be honest here. I do not want to demonize black people because oftentimes we do this. We should not, because none of us were there to take those blows, to take those dog bites, to take those. So I can't sit up here in good conscience and shit all over those black people in the civil rights movement who I may not agree with us being desegregated into white society and losing all our businesses, but I can't hate on them because I got to be honest, and most black people in the 21st century with our sophisticated self won't admit to this. If all of us on this panel were living back then, we would have been doing the same goddamn thing.
Absolutely.
Because you are culturally conditioned by the generation you grow up in.
No, you're 100% right. You're 100% right. We did come a long way, and yes, I believe that Martin did think about that because we were better off when we had our own. Because like you said, they didn't even want us in nothing. They didn't want us around them or nothing. So we had to create, and we was very good at it. And we didn't have no problem with working for our money or working hard to get what we've been working hard all those years. So why not? So yes.
But it seems like, all the talking we do, and I got to wrap the show up because I got to go. But Information Man said people are scared. The black people are scared. What I don't understand, and I'll use Damon John as an example, and I did on the show before. Damon John is the guy that started FUBU, For Us By Us. He's on Shark Tank. He's worth $400 million and counting. He made a statement about Louis Farrakhan when DMX died, and the Jews got all over him for liking. He liked what Farrakhan said about DMX. He retracted his statement and apologized for even agreeing with anything because the Jews want nothing to do with Louis Farrakhan. But the man is worth $400 million. You're telling me that we are so scared. I can't say fuck you, take my $400 million, and all those basketball players, they can't take their millions and millions of dollars. And I mean, like, people do it all the time. The Asians do it. the Indians do it. Everybody does it. But why are we so scared? Like, what's the fear? Like, and I watch like entertainers. Like, there's certain entertainers you can tell that they're scared. You
Because
can
the
tell.
white man still paying their
Oprah,
check.
as much money as Oprah has, you can tell something she
But
can't speak fluently.
right.
Gail can't speak fluently. You know what I
But
mean?
I think the sister was saying it though, brother. I think the questions she's answering that these when we talk about the black athletes and entertainers, they are beholding to these corporations that are run by white people. So so remember who's the sister, maybe you remember this. Who's the basketball player who came out with the book called $1 Million Slave?
I remember that. Yes, somebody came up with a book.
Right. So even though these guys are making millions of dollars, and we think that wow, they should be able to do A, B, and C, they still are beholding to an entity, right? They're still beholding, right? Now, it may sound like excuses, but it wasn't black athletes and entertainers that built most black communities in the past. It came from the people that lived in the black community. Now, the entertainers, for example, I give you for example, Stephen Fetchit. People made fun of him. He's an entertainer. He's the guy that was like, oh, master. But what people didn't know about Stephen Fetchit is that while he was doing all that cooning around on TV, that brother had a consciousness about him. Do you know he owned one of the first black resorts? That man owned hotels. So he took all that. He took the cooning that he was doing and said, okay, it was. What he did, sister, is make sure you check this out. Either read the book or watch the movie A Spook That's Set Next to the Door. So while he did all that cooning and chucking and jiving and made that money, while he went back to his segregated community, he created businesses. Now you say, well, how could that be any different than what black people should be doing today when he still was working for? Remember, most of the movies, even though he was making money in those type of race movies, as they called them, he still was segregated to the black community. White folks wanted nothing to do with us. Get away from us. The problem is today, Negroes want to be integrated.
Mm-hmm. They do.
So a lot of people don't know that about the brother who plays Stephen Fetchit character, that he actually was an entrepreneur off stage.
So we're doomed.
Well,
you said we're doomed.
the reason why I don't like that term, brother, because let's just say this generation might be doomed, but we don't know what the next generation is going to, because these kids today are technologically ahead of us. These kids today are more savvy. They have more information at their fingertips. Maybe the older generation, like ourselves, maybe we did. But I don't believe that the younger generation will be dead because why? Because it's up to me as a father to instill values in my daughter so that she's better than I am.
That's right.
So, Carl, if you are a father, don't you believe that your son or your daughter will be better than you?
Absolutely, I'm hoping.
So therefore, there's hope for the next generations, but there may not be too much hope for us because our time is running out as we're getting older. It's the truth. That's how life goes. Our time is running out.
Yeah, I mean, we're not doomed, but it seems like we're running on a treadmill, you know?
Yeah, we are. But see,
we only got about 30, 40 summers left.
but our kids, remember, this generation today, they don't think the way we think.
Yeah, it's a different era, different struggle.
They're not held down by race. You notice how when you talk to these kids today, they don't really subscribe to the race. They may understand that race is a reality, but they're not as emotionally damaged by race as we are, because a lot of us have experienced some really bad things where our kids are in a whole different level. They don't have the emotional damage to it.
At race and sexuality.
Right.
I noticed that also because it's like sex was imaginary back in the days. To me, it was. Now it's just all over the place.
Yeah, it's intensified.
Like comfortable with it, where nothing is in, suspicion or imagine. You can imagine. No, it's a different struggle.
I'm glad you brought that up because I know I must be getting so old to say this, but I watch like Beyonce concert Rihanna concert, and all I see, to put it like a big vagina.
Yeah.
I swear to God.
It's like a strip era.
You know what I mean?
Era.
I'm watching,
Yeah.
but then I watched Janet Jackson's concert, and I truly enjoyed. She was totally dressed, never showing a private area. And I know people say, "Oh well, Beyonce is covered." Yeah, come on, it's covered, but by how much? Rihanna is covered, yeah, but by how much? Even this new Deepu, some new white girl, Dilipa or Dulipa or whatever.
Yeah.
They what they wear are, you know what I mean, Hannah Montana, that white girl that sings, you know what I mean, but they all these women, there's nothing to the imagination, like you said.
Yeah.
You know?
I think what's happening today, I remember coming up when they said, a lot of women would say, don't look at me as sex, don't exploit me. And I think what's happening is that in today's time, you don't hear a lot of women talking about being sexually exploited, because actually the women are exploiting themselves. And this is how the game is today. I think women didn't like being sexually exploited by men because they weren't the ones making money from it. But the women today are making money from exploiting themselves on OnlyFans and on Instagram, and they're shaking up they're twerking up the place, and they're making money. So I think if you notice, you don't hear any feminists coming out and saying, women, stop the twerking. It ain't just black women. You got white girls twerking. Twerking is going all over the world. But I think the women feel sexually empowered, and they seem to be in control of their sexual energy and how they want to spread it, and they're making money off of it. And I think most of the guys, you hear it on YouTube, that are not happy about it. I'm not a big fan of it, but I think the reason why a lot of guys are really not happy about it, because we're not in control of it. We're not profiting, and we're not in control. We're not. It used to be a time when the man would tell the woman, "Now you spin around, baby, shake it up, baby," and then daddy then you come on home to daddy. We gonna collect this money. The women don't need the pimp. They don't need the middleman. They just need the booty.
That's right. And let me tell you something, with these bodies, and it's so, because I told my sister, I said, we in the 90s, the strip era was the bomb. Everybody's bodies was real. You understand what I'm saying? But today, nobody's bodies is real. But these chicks is making money. They getting men to send thousands of dollars to they cash app. I couldn't get nobody to send me $200. Like, what is going on? And my ass is real. My titties is real. Everything is real. And
right.
Still, like, it's a different era.
Yeah.
Right.
I got one comment here from Pranay. I hope I'm saying the name correctly on YouTube. Said, "Really care about America? Make Native American president." Shame on you. Do you think they would ever make a Native American the president? I mean,
no, they're not going to do. You know why they're not going to do that? Because this is already their country. So if they become the president, you know they're going to kick the white people straight out. They're going to be the first.
Anything's possible. Anything's possible.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to put a pure Native American in there. They probably put a mix in there, but they're not going to put a pure. And that's another story with election. That's another story.
I think a female president will be coming. Everybody got up everybody thought that it was going to be Hillary Clinton. And then people are thinking that it's going to be Kamala, which I don't think it's going to be, because she doesn't score well nationally. She didn't even win the state of California, where I live at, when she ran the primaries against Joe Biden. I've been saying this for a while. I think there is a woman that will be president, but this woman is a little girl right now. She's either in high school, she's either in elementary school, or either she was born last year or today. I think the future is coming. You know why? Because it goes back to what I said before. This new generation that is into their sexuality and being who they want to be with and who they are, they're going to be becoming adults, and they're going to be raising their kids the same. And that's why the future is bright. We got to wait for some of these dinosaurs to die off. Yeah.
You see Mitch McConnell, he was like,
yeah, Mitch McConnell, man, he looked like he got body snatched or cloned, didn't he?
Yo, right? Like, where did the commercial break?
Clone Tyrone.
Commercial break. Did y'all hear what happened with Jamie Foxx? He did a message about fake friends. He was like, if they killed Jesus, you think they won't, come for me? So Jennifer Aniston pressed like, but then her handlers must have got in contact with her and was like, you can't like that. That's anti-Semitic. Then she went on there and said, I'm against anti-Semitic and stuff. I never even heard Jamie Foxx say anything anti-Semitic.
The reason why is because the Jewish people historically have been persecuted because they've been seen as people that are non-believers of Jesus, and that they were, and that they. When you go back and read your Bible, I don't want to get your channel in trouble. Go back and look at the Bible, and you see who was involved in the massacre of Jesus. I'm just gonna say that.
Okay, so is that why they canceled Mel Gibson for the Passion of Christ?
Right. I'm just gonna. I'm speaking in code right now. The Bible tells you the individuals that were involved in betraying Jesus, and when you look at that, that tells you everything you need to know about why that happened.
So my thing is, if they didn't have anything, why would they have a problem with Jamie thing? Jamie was just talking about fake friends.
Because it goes back.
If they killed Jesus,
right?
What do you think they'll do to me? And I would have probably used it, but it wasn't towards them.
But what does it tell you, though, sister? It tells you that entertainers cannot be the leaders of the black community. They're too compromised. Because if Jamie Foxx, the reason why he took it back, because he's thinking about his career. He's thinking about career first. That if I don't apologize, they're going to counsel me. They're going to do what they did to Kyrie Irving, and they're gonna do me wrong, and that's going to be the end of my career. So he had to take it back, whether he agreed or not. Therefore, these entertainers and athletes cannot be leaders of the black community, because Malcolm X said what he had to say. Why? Because he wasn't beholden to any of these entities.
Yeah, and it's not a part of their contract anyway to help black community.
All right, I got to wrap up the show.
All right, brother, I'm going to drop off, but thank you for having me up. Thank you much.
All right. And Up and Running, thank you for checking in, brother. And anytime
thank you,
you
Up
want to
and Running.
anytime you want to come on, just feel free. I'll put the link up and you can jump on. Obviously, I heard your accent. You're obviously Jamaican. So I don't know if you're in Jamaica or if you're somewhere in America, but we appreciate you jumping on today.
Yeah, but and Jamaica have their so-called Independence Day today. It's a so-called, it's a so-called Independence Day.
You guys had Emancipation Day, right? You guys had Emancipation Day.
But this is all a joke. It's all a script. It's all written in some books and some. There's no independence. It's all a joke.
You know about Muta Baruku, right?
Muta Baruka is my master teacher. John Every Clark is my master teacher.
Yeah. Oh, I love that, man.
So you don't know we burn all Bible too. This is Bible thing. This a joke and domicile.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Judge 1,000 years.
Yeah. So John Henry Clark, Muta Baruka.
Yeah, man.
Mr. Anderson too from America, master teacher. Them are master teachers.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. You're right.
Yeah.
Man. All right, brother.
Bless up.
Thanks for joining, man.
Bless up. Thank you.
All right.
Shout out to my friend Tara. She Jamaican. She actually mentioned their Independence Day today.
Yeah. All right. Karen Francis said if Biden dies, that Kamala would be a president. So I guess we could have a woman president.
But is she going to deal with the real issues of America? You understand? Is she going to really be empathetic to us?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I guess we'll never know. But
yeah,
she doesn't really side with the darker side of her. I mean, she kind of. I don't know if she's in the middle or she's more to the other side. But
if they ain't let Hillary in, you think they're going to let Kamala in just because she got a white husband? Pulling her white handler, they're not going to do that.
Well, I want to thank everyone for joining us.
Thank you
so much. Thank you, Information Man. So love it when you come on our show. You make it
love you, Information Man.
Interesting, and your point of view is always welcome. Karen Francis, thank you so much. She's hoping that Biden would drop dead, but I'm just kidding. Donna Hager, thank you, Donna. Up and running again. Thank you so much. I'm not gonna address this person because I don't know he's looking for some kind of fight, and I'm just not doing that. Norma Staley, thank you so much. G Car, thank you. I'm not gonna get to everyone. Sharon Gooden, thank you so much for checking in. Somebody named Booty Bandy JC from Twitch.
Hey, shout out to that little boy. What's that boy name? We need to get that little boy on our show
Booty
because I don't
Bandit.
understand how he had thousands and thousands and
Oh,
thousands.
you mean that kid that started a riot in Union Square?
What? You
20
know how much
million.
young people he can touch, Carl?
Yes, he has 20 million. 20 million.
Carl, we need to have him on our show. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
We need to help their parents, help their mothers, because they was tearing up some shit down there.
All right, well, we're out. I gotta go. I gotta run. I got some stuff to do. Tiffany, I love you.
I love you too.
And I love everyone that watches this show. I truly appreciate it. Please,
yes, we do. Like and subscribe.
Subscribe. Tell everyone about our show so our show can grow and grow and grow.
With the knowledge you gain, break away from the chains. We helping you grow the Black Therapy Show. You be in a safe space, dealing with the black trauma. We unpacking and inspecting all our baggage and drama. Cause we gotta unite, no more killing each other. It's time to see a new future for my sisters and brothers. You know it, Kevin, Carl, and Tiffany. You'll have an epiphany. We'll give you everything you need to handle the enemy. We be giving you empathy, we gon' challenge you mentally. The right conversation so you grow exponentially. We built your penitentiaries, we built all your schools. Gave us brainwash education, just making us fools.
Shout out to Kevin.
In exchange for love, no more manipulation. Oh my God, up above. No, it's Carl, Kevin, and Tiffany. Now welcome to the Black Therapy Show. Let's go.
All right, let me end it.